Okay, you want hot topics? You should hang out in a courtroom. Welcome back with my special guests. They are the renowned attorneys and judges from the hit TV series Hot Bench, Judge Tanya Acker, Judge Patricia Dumango, and Judge Joseph Corriero. Great to have the three of you. I'm so glad that you all three could be here on a week where I feel like my head has been hanging, sort of open mouth with what's going on with judges and with court cases. But I want to start with this one. In the Kyle Rittenhouse case, something weird happened, and I really think your expertise is going to be helpful here. The star witness for the prosecution, it's a tricky name, Gage Grosskreutz. I hope I got it right. He went on the stand yesterday and kind of like did the oopsie. The prosecution didn't want this, but he admitted that, yep, okay, Kyle, I pointed a gun at Kyle. I pointed my gun at Kyle. Take a look at how he said it on the stand.
Does this look like right now your arm is being shot?
That looks like my bicep being vaporized, yes.
Okay. And it's being vaporized as you're pointing your gun directly at him? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so when you were standing 3 to 5 feet from him with your arms up in the air, he never fired, right?
Correct.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's not what you want if you're the prosecutors in this case. You don't want your star witness to say, yeah, I was pointing a gun at the guy whose entire defense is self-defense, right? Here's the weird thing. That same witness went on GMA, and he was questioned by Michael Strahan about what he said, and he flipped the picture. He said, no, I didn't point that gun. So here's how he said it. Take a look.
In that photo, given the right narrative, one could suggest that, yes, I was pointing my weapon at the defendant. But when you play it as a movie or look at different stills, my arm was being vaporized as I was allegedly pointing my weapon at the defendant. It's completely inconsistent with the physiology of my wound that he would have shot me while my weapon was pointed at his head.
Okay, Judge Tanya Acker, I don't know what to make of it. I feel as though the prosecutor should have brought that back and impeached him with it in a rebuttal case. That didn't happen. But that doesn't sound right to people who want real justice and truth in a courtroom.
Yeah, look, I think it's interesting that during the interview, he says, you know, it might be suggested. Well, the truth is he did suggest it, and he didn't just suggest it. He basically said it. And when you are in trial, what happens in court is the record. All of that stuff that happened on, outside of court, the extrajudicial statements, arguably the prosecution could say, we want to bring him back on or we want to put this into the record. But once you have established a record, once you have a witness on the stand who gives you key facts and then says, you know what, maybe in an interview, I'm going to try to soften it, that second version is not going to be as powerful or as potent. And frankly, it may not even be admissible. If you want to make a suggestion about what happened during the critical events, you make that suggestion while you are testifying under penalty of perjury in a court of law. The interview on GMA afterwards is not going to clean up your testimony necessarily.
No, it's true. Okay, but then to the judge now, because I know you guys have all seen the fireworks between the judge and the prosecutor yesterday. So I thought that was all over with. And then today, again, I had to pop popcorn because they went at it again. And I just wanted to play it for you because you guys are judges and I'm going to ask you about temperament. So take a look at this.
Is there something that I'm saying that draws the face that you're making? Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
I have to say, Your Honor, yesterday I was the target of your ire for disregarding your orders. Today, the defense is disregarding your order. Yesterday, as I said, I was under the court's ire.
I don't want to talk about...
Well,
why don't we just...
I think it's a fundamental fairness issue, Your Honor.
All right, say what you want to say.
If I'm being held to obey the court's orders, I'm asking that the defense be held to that too. This is something we litigated at a Daubert hearing. We spent time on this.
You know, I am going to interrupt you, and then I'm going to let you talk again. But I was talking yesterday about the Constitution of the United States and how the Supreme Court has interpreted it for 50 years. That's not what we're talking about here today.
Judge Patricia Domingo, look, it's fun to talk about temperament. It's fun to watch it. Does it matter when it comes to the case?
It actually does. I'm not sure whether or not at the time they had this colloquy or this back and forth bantering that the jury was present. And of course, a jury, most of the time juries hold judges in high esteem. And if they like a judge, they kind of will sway their view towards how the judge is behaving. So if they like a judge and they think the judge doesn't like the prosecutor or the defense attorney, that could impact on how they perceive what's going on in the courtroom. And you know, but sometimes, let's say this was outside the presence of the jury, you know, no judge wants to declare a mistrial. No judge wants to take the verdict away from the juror. They want to leave the case within the province of the jury. And so you really want to caution the lawyers. Sometimes you want to do it emphatically, and it might be by yelling, but because you really don't want to compromise the integrity of the proceeding. And short of declaring a mistrial when there's a manifest necessity to do so, you know, the judge has kind of, you know, he can give some limiting instructions, he could tell the jury to disregard things, but it's very difficult to take, once the cat is out of the bag, it's very difficult to kind of get that out of the juror's mind. And I think that the judge is really trying to persuade the prosecutor to stop violating the court rules and orders. And, you know, now he's got the defense doing the same thing. He probably should treat them both equally. But if they're not, the jury's not there. I mean, these guys have to get, you know, they have to have thicker skin. The judge is upset and annoyed, and as he should be. You don't talk about the post-arrest silence. You don't talk about rulings that the judge has made, clearly saying you're not to ask questions.
Yeah, he was right.
So, yeah, the judge has a right.
He was right. However, I will say this. The jury wasn't in the courtroom, but they were not in the jury room. They were in a library, and it was within shouting distance. And there's a reporter who said he could hear what was going on. So I'm very concerned that the jury might have, and I don't know if we'll hear about that. Stand pat for a second, guys, because when we come back, I want to talk about the after effects of Astroworld. Travis Scott is now offering counseling to concert goers, and oh my Lord, did the internet ever clap back. But does that matter when you're facing down now upwards of 200 lawsuits? Back after this with the Hot Bench. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.